All right, and we're back for the back 10 coverage of the 2021 Peacebridge Highland Open in Duntroon, Ontario, a Canadian disc golf production. I'm Patrick McCauley, and my co-host is
Colleen McInnes.
And we're rocking FPO coverage.
And we are so happy to have it. Big shout out to Wally for this coverage. We're looking for equal representation right now, and he's really been helping with that. So we appreciate the support in the FPO division.
And this beautiful drone coverage here. Stop 8 to 10 on the ODSA Club Tour, brought to you by Forefathers Brewing. And you can check out all of Wally's work and his drone footage library that he's building at Canadian Disc Golf Productions on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, if you're a new player, check that out. You can see all the courses around Ontario. Check them out before you go.
Our current leader, Colleen McInnes, right beside me. Brianna. Chasing her down.
I love this cat's intro. Oh, hey. Oh, hey.
Didn't see you there.
Erica. Looking so happy as always.
Current Ontario FPO champion.
Oh, and
that's
Alicia.
That's mislabeled, but that's Alicia Hums. Starting off.
Hole 12.
Hole 12.
We are 264 feet. And this is a little deceptive. When you're starting off on the tee pad, you do have to hyzer out, but some people are throwing too overstable. You hyzer out too much. You don't want to go too understable because you go into these trees on the right. So it's very much a deceptively straight shot that you're trying to pull off. And just slide on up to this beautiful basket. Now, I think the best shot here is a forehand Annie, but I do not have that.
It's the tiniest of S-bends, but it's almost a straight shot.
Yeah. And I have played this course, but not recently, so I did not know the danger I just went around.
You really pushed
it. Really got a little lucky there.
There's a little like TP in the intersection of the road there too that can catch a disc if it heads towards that forest, and it's a real big hazard. Equivalent of hitting a small house.
Yeah. So me and Brianna going pretty straight. Just hyzering out at the end, barely.
Erica should be safe off that. Yep, and it's going to spit out right in the middle.
Yeah, it went quite far off that hit, so it was lucky. We'll take the tree hits when we can get them.
So this is actually right behind hole 10's tee pad, that long tunnel shot. So you just do a 180 and you're looking at the rest of the trail here. So a similar tunnel shot, but not the same landing zone at all.
It's funny, like Erica hitting the same bush Cat just did, but Erica just hit it maybe an inch left and skated right through, and Cat just got smacked right down.
Yeah, she got Matumbo'd on that leaf.
Going a little high, but again, she's so lucky with those bounces back in the fairway. The disc golf gods were looking down on her today.
You're going to need tree love here, no doubt. And there's that little triangular TP that I mentioned before. If you do shank it off to the right, Cat's going right up high and landing it for a long look at 3.
Yeah, and it opens up there, so she should be pretty in the open. And Alicia almost went all the way through, so there are a lot of trees over there, but she's going to be more deep of them. Erica with a long 2 look there.
Yeah, good smart play to keep it close. There's a lot of ground movement on this green, so the slideaways can turn a pretty decent approach into like a 25-30 footer if it goes wrong. We did see one shot on the AM1 card that went from that back tee all the way through the forest, through the back on the right side for a 20-foot birdie putt from behind the basket.
Oh, wow. So I that's my yellow one right in front of Bree there, and I don't know, I must have gone through those trees. I think Bree did as well.
There are some lucky gaps in there, but you definitely don't hit them on purpose on this hole.
Helps when you don't know that those trees are that bad. Little blind play in the course is good.
And the fearless way to play that hole. Nice job.
Thank you.
Just a little bit low.
Look, she's doing that a little low, but such a good line every time. Just engage that lower body and get it up more.
Mm-hmm. Using those legs to pump through. That's the way to do it.
I mean, Alicia's ripped. You can see her muscles all over there. So she's got the leg power.
Her and Tom, another dynamic disc golf duo that's now on the FPO scene in Ontario.
Yeah. It's so fantastic having all these new players. It's tough as well because with it comes the issue of tournaments filling up so fast and stuff like that. And then now we're having an issue where, for example, there's 2 tournaments on the same weekend and you don't get to see half your friends because they're all going to the other ones. So yeah, it's good, and it's becoming a way bigger community. Way bigger.
Thank you to Ripped Revenge K&A Games for putting up a $100 ace bounty on this short and sweet hole 13, but it is no easy feat because it's going uphill as well.
Yeah, the uphill, good tip is always throw a little bit understable uphill because it's going to fight to the right as it goes up. Especially if you do need to throw it a little nose up, that helps even it out so it doesn't air out to the left. So I think we're all throwing a little bit understable, maybe pretty much right at the basket, and having it turn over if it needs to the right a little.
Yeah, and leaving it short's probably the smart idea. Nice little uphill putt for birdie. And that's a common play. Just don't get quite enough on it.
Yeah.
And it pans out to the left a little bit. So a little pitch out from the trees. Should be no problem to deal with, though.
Yeah, and that left side we found was pretty open.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fallen trees there, too, so not as much in your way. Brianna, almost the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be pretty close together there. Erica throwing a Discraft.
That is nice and up high, but it's still just right in front of that big solid oak tree.
Kat throwing. I feel like this is her, maybe her D2.
So good.
Or no, it might be a
little,
D3. It was a little understable.
Yeah, a little more straight, but a nice skip up, and she's going to tap that in. And another great shot there. See how she gets the skip. It sucked it into the tree a bit, but all those discs peppered up around the oak should be okay. As long as we don't get rollaways, that's what you want to avoid here. There's probably about 3 or 4 greens here at Highlands that have that rollaway risk.
Yes, yeah. This one's scary, hole 4 as well.
And the next one coming up, hole 14. Another redesigned hole, some added trouble and some added features. Here you are for your birdie.
Yeah, and there's a little gap I'm trying to go through. But you can see I hit a branch right at the end, and I was like, oh, it's a nothing branch. It won't affect it, and it totally did.
It did. It sent it down much quicker. Alicia, off the band in the top link, it looks like there.
That was a great run.
Yeah.
And I think Erica's doing the same line I did, but just much closer. So she also has that little branch there.
So she's going over top of the sapling that you see at the far right of that tree. Oh, and it sits.
Yeah. Whew. Sweet relief. I mean, we all want a birdie here, but we definitely don't want a 4 here, so...
Brianna and Kat cleaning up.
And this is Kat for her too as well. Just a beautiful drive.
Thank you.
And you can see her caddy there, Chris Thompson, out there supporting her friends or his friends.
Yeah, he was doing a little bit of spotting for everyone as well too when needed. Here is a clencher. Out of bounds left, the long grass by the gun range. Out of bounds right on the black tarp all the way up the fairway. This is hole 14, 320 feet. Plays a little bit longer than that with that hidden basket. And you're gonna see the green opens up where the tarp ends into a surrounded OB, kind of an island green situation happening. It's a real risk reward shot here to go for this.
And it's like death behind. Such a death putt. So if you miss that, the OB is so close to the basket. It's really hard to want to run this on your drive or your putt.
Even laying up for par is not safe because you have to have a death putt if you lay up to the left. Cat ripping.
And staying very safe. So that left side, like you said, it opens up way left. The right side's all danger. So the further right you go off your drive, the more risk you're putting in.
If you go out of bounds that early, then your third shot is going to be really long.
So I just threw a Saint.
Nice and safe.
Yeah, did not want to go right.
Yeah, with that 5-stroke lead right now, you don't want to get into any trouble in the first round.
And Brianna going all risk. She was very confident with this hole.
Saying, sit down.
She said she ace ran it every time she practiced it, so she was feeling really good about it.
Once you dial it in, definitely more comfortable. Erica, look at that gentle turning shot. And she looks like it could be long.
Yeah. She has some amazing, surprising distance. And it's not surprising because it's Erica. It's just when she throws, you just don't think it's going to glide that long. The glide is insane on her discs.
Making her discs work for her.
Yeah.
That's
and it's the way she throws. It's amazing.
You can see all the way down to the bottom of that hill where the other hole is. That's hole 11 and 12. No way.
So
that could be the hero shot of the day, the gut check time.
I got back up there and they're like, were you running that? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you're crazy.
That could have been a definite 4 for the miss. That's an excellent shot.
Yeah.
That's outside the circle.
Well, in any kind of miss, you hit the rim, you hit the halo, you hit chains and fall out, any kind of miss, and you're probably going to roll.
Brianna smartly taking a knee here to avoid any extra distance of that disc falling. She makes good on it. It's going to be a birdie for her as well.
So I believe Erica was in bounds. I believe. I can't.
We'll see her score after to confirm.
But what a drive.
Hole 14.
A good tap in for Kat there.
So the lady's playing this card or this hole almost half a stroke under with those birdies. So that's one of the more difficult holes on the course. Max Lehman from IG Wealth Management sponsoring this hole and the ace bounty on this hole. One of the easier holes on the course, par 3, 310 feet. It's playing more like 280. It's not a very...
Yeah, and I always forget how short it is, so I'm always like, I have to really throw this. And it's just because it's a little bit blind from our tee pad. There is a Mando on the left. I think the Mando doesn't really come into play as much for a lot of players. We're just doing a big hyzer.
It's just to keep the people away from the next tee pad.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of aim at some of the stuff up there and just let the disc do the work left. I threw a distance driver. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I was like, throw it far, and then got up there and was like, oh, okay. This as soon as you crest that hill, you're like, oh, this isn't that far at all.
Brianna taking a more straight on approach. The key here is just getting up over that ridge, and then you're pretty much in the clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just don't hit it too low. A nice high shot gets it to land in that green area. That road next year is going to play as a river.
So Kat went a little too right there, but you could see the little wobble from the deck she's thrown off, and a little bit of that grip lock, but a little bit of that underbalanced. A nice hyzer from Erica.
And that's it. That's going to stick down probably a bit left of the basket, but right up pin high probably. And Alicia.
That to me looks like the best drive of the bunch.
Yeah. That could be park it.
I like the height she put on it because it allows your disc to air out a lot more. You don't have to worry about cutting it too close to the left. It's a good run from Kat.
Yep. She'll pick up that par. And yeah, you were a bit... So you're outside the circle. The circle is just basically where the grass is cut.
Yeah. Erica for a long look for her birdie. And
yep.
Converts.
So she beat you on that game of horse there.
That
Those
was
are almost identical putts.
And that was just excellent. She had the great level and great height the whole way. Her putting when it's on is just phenomenal.
She knows how to cut through that Highland wind too.
Yeah.
Those putts. Brianna, nice little approach putt. A nice bid, sorry.
And there's Alicia for the birdie. I like her commitment, though. A lot of new players hyzer and kind of fluff their putts. She's very firm, straight, and flat. I really like that kind of putt.
But not that follow-up, though. That kind of slipped out of the fingers.
Yeah, but you got to wonder, like, a little bit of new player nerves, too. Like, you saw she didn't take her time for that. And we all go, this is routine, but go through your whole actual routine every time.
We know in a tournament, especially if there's camera coverage, you're going to have lots of time anyway, so always take it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kat had a great approach. So this is her tapping in her par.
And there's the difference right there. She just sets in, makes sure, even though it's a small putt, you're not making any mistakes.
Yeah.
And
so I do think that part of that whole taking the moment is making sure your whole body's engaged, right? Get your legs in there. All right, hole 16, 381 feet. This is a pretty simple long hole, but there is a lot of danger. All this right grass, that left side is a little that we've got OB there as well. So a lot of us are hyzering over this tall grass and hoping to get inbounds. Some people are opting for the Annie route, where you're throwing it out to the left side and having it carry over to the right and then hyzer back. It was quite windy. It was a left to right headwind, more so left to right than headwind, but it was very left to right. So throwing that hyzer, as soon as you go over that tall grass, you're getting pushed down. As soon as you throw on the right side and you start to Annie, you're getting lifted up and you're Annieing even farther.
Those wind rides were carrying the disc into the long grass. So a lot of people that didn't have a problem with it in their practice rounds.
Yeah. So, I mean, any route you take with the wind we had, it was risky.
Yeah. The wind added about 3/4 of a stroke to this hole versus days that it wasn't windy.
I'm very happy with that shot from Erica. I'm sure she was very pleased to stay super safe.
Right in the middle. The pushing this for a birdie is almost not an option for the FPO card.
Yeah, it's too far. Definitely too far for us to have a look for the birdie. That is questionable. We were very, very confused about where they would be. Like, we knew where the grass line was once we got up there, but just from back there, we weren't sure. And we had a bunch of people behind us kind of off on that path, and we were looking at them like, is it in? Is it in? And they're like, I don't know.
No thumbs up or thumbs downs there.
Yeah, so we did have a few provisionals played on this hole.
Yeah, that's always smart. Thank you to SKS Novelty for sponsoring this hole as well. They support cross-country ski events in the wintertime here, and they hopped on board for this one. And that is definitely going to be OB for Kat.
Yeah, that was a little too much of the turn for her. Like, it went a little too right, I think, than she expected.
If you guys are Ontarians watching this coverage, you have to come up and play this course simply for the views, never mind the course itself. If you look to your right off this hole, you can see all the way down to Georgian Bay, across to like Midland, Penetang. It's probably 150-mile view from where they're standing on the tee right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you get a chance, go check out Kat Johnson's Instagram. She posted a picture of the 5 of us on this tee pad, and it is the coolest picture. It looks like the gods are shining down on us. It's
the
amazing.
Sunbeams are casting rays down. Yeah,
it's just beautiful, and a great recovery shot. That was amazing. So we actually we all ended up throwing from around here. I also threw a provisional because we were just with Wally in the camera. We didn't want to have to make him go back, so we were like, we'll just throw the shots and then see what happens when we get up there. So they didn't show my provisional because it ended up being fine.
Because you didn't have to use it, yeah.
Yeah.
And this looks like a great shot from Alicia too.
Absolutely.
Yep, perfect placement.
Yeah, there's like all these weird bends here. And I was like...
So you landed just in that curve.
Yeah.
And see, even after a crush drive, we're still looking at a
far.
3. Yeah, to keep it in control in the wind here and get your par, you're winning on this hole. Erica with her excellent drive as well.
Beauty.
Yep, that'll be fine. Just push it a little bit wide, but that's still a long, almost jump putt range there.
Oh, that was, like I said, so beautiful. Her putt looks so good, but it's just low every time, but it's so beautiful. Yeah, and Erica nailing that.
Nice knock in.
Textbook 3, that was beautiful.
Yeah, props to Alicia for that commitment without getting those first round yips, you know, to get, like you definitely have them, but to stay true to your swing. I know a lot of people, you know, a couple mistakes come and then you start holding back to not make the mistakes and then more follow, but
you start to do that, let's just minimize damage, and she is I like the aggression in her play. Where she is safe, not like she's super risky or anything like that, but she's doing the ambitious shots, and I like that.
Smack it in.
Tap in, and we had a really funny situation on this hole because that bench is blue. I don't know why, but we all were like, "Yep, this is the blues." And we stood there for a few minutes, and then Alicia's like, "There's a sign here that says the blues are up there." And we walked up and saw the spray paint, and we were like, "Oh, okay." So we ended up moving.
Jamie Huxtable, another guy who helped out on the course, sponsoring this hole. So here's the blue tees up here in the gravel path.
Yes.
One of the hard ones, because blue and whites tee off from there, but in the normal layout, the blue tee is actually back where the golds are. So that's where the confusion comes in.
Yeah, so we'll be playing the golds next round.
Yeah, and it's playing as a par 3 from this spot.
And if anyone's ever played this hole before, this is a double mando now. So we are not going over the trees, which is fine from the blues, I think, is good. But I know a lot of people were disappointed from the golds because it is such a fun shot to go over all those trees. See how far you can throw it.
Yeah, it's a really, really fun throw to go. Basically, you're throwing over an entire forest and then landing down below. But the landing zone is unfortunately right where the 18th hole is, so we had to take that out of the layout just for the tournament.
So this is super downhill, but very straight, and not too much danger around for
putters
us.
Are a popular option for this throw. Maybe a mid-range, but that's going all the way down past the basket. It looks like.
Yes. Yeah.
Great gap hit there from Erica.
This is my truth.
Oh yes, this looks fantastic. Will it fight back a little bit there at the end? Look at this. Could be a little tap in.
It's beautiful. And there's Chris Thompson down there spotting for us. Thanks again, Chris. So he was kind of caddy / spotter.
Definitely needed on this one. There is a OB property fence to the left. It's worth mentioning. So playing to the right is the safer option. It also opens up nicely there at the bottom of the hill. So if you really want to stay out of the trees, go to the right at the end. Yeah.
And the right side is pretty safe. Like Brianna looks like she got smacked down, but she actually did. She's actually farther than the pin. And Kat as well looks like she got smacked down, but got out there. You can see just in the middle.
Yeah, it's only really tiny trees on the right side.
Yeah, and they kind of like just redirect you and keep you going instead of smacking you down. But You know, it's the luck of the draw, though. Sometimes
Now,
they will.
who do we have in here?
So this is Alicia. She went a little bit left and a little short.
Oh, great. Oh, woo!
And she just
And that's how you do
parks
it. Awesome.
That was insane. Like, you couldn't even see her in there. All you need is a little line. And an amazing touch forehand. Just loving seeing those from the girls. So yeah, you could see Bree hit all those trees on the right, but she ended up deep of the basket even.
Yeah, that's wild.
And we were a little worried for a minute because we couldn't find it.
The more spotters, the merrier on this course. Thanks for Chris for helping out on
Yeah,
this
well,
card.
and he saw where it went too, and it was like still a struggle. It was a good out from Erica. She had a really tough line there.
It's too bad because that would have been an amazing two.
Yeah. A great tap in for Bree. Well, that was actually a pretty good tester putt from Bree.
Yeah.
It's always funny the distance.
15, 20 here.
I think it might have been even like 10.
So it was as close then as it looked on
Yeah,
camera.
It looked, and actually when we were up at the top, it looked farther than I thought it was. When I got up there, I was like, oh wow, this is way closer.
That's why this is such a tough course to play for your first couple times. Those judgments on the elevation changes and all the lines, shifting slight turns that look like big turns and vice versa.
Or fake lines that people cut in.
I'm going to have to ask if anyone went for that line. Because I tried it in a practice, and I still took the par, but getting through felt really good. It's only about maybe 15 foot
You know
gap.
what? Actually, comment on this footage if you took that gap on hole 11.
Hole 11, yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to hear.
Hole 18, Activity Discs, our vendor for the tournament, putting up the sponsorship here. 337 feet. Really cool shot. Big hyzer line on the forehand if you're a righty, or the turnover, less popular.
I think more of the women are taking the turnover than the forehand, just for the distance. For me, I was like, I could accidentally not turn it over and just go straight, and I'd be fine with that. If you turn it over too early, or you forehand and let go early, and you go into those early trees on the right, it's awful.
The trees are nasty. They swallow up the disc real quick. It's about 270 to get past the trees. And a wide angle shot for the tee-offs here, so we can see the whole entry into the green. Good shot by Wally then to capture this. And you are doing the turnover, like you said, and that's gonna be...
and it ended up pretty good. It went straight. It was kind of pushing the goat fence there, but not too close to it. So, like I said,
Sugar and Spice, the resident goats at Highlands Nordic, one brown and one white.
They love grass if you feed them grass.
They do not want your discs, though. They are OB. That's really long to go that far OB, so that's a nice spot to land, right in between those trees.
Yeah,
and
then you've got up look at it.
Getting, crashing in, even if you have the distance, is almost impossible because all of those trees catch it right before the basket. Brianna's just about around the corner there, it looks like.
Yeah, I think she just made the corner. Maybe even flattened out a little.
Kat also going turnover. And she's going to get
That
it.
was beautiful.
Wow, right up and
Get
over.
up there. Oh, it hit those last, orange branches.
And then panned out. Still happy to be in the short stuff there. And that's what you want to avoid there.
Yeah, that was just too early.
Yeah. So this is after a pitch out here, it looks like.
Yeah, she really had nothing except pitching out there. Sometimes if you go into these trees, you might have that backdoor line. And that's okay, she'll have a putt. Great forehand.
Nice touch from Kat there. And you, Colleen, quite long of the basket there.
Yeah,
That's going to be a nice tap in, yeah. Almost, well, we want to go see the goats before you head to the next hole.
That's right.
Brianna, great shot.
And a good run from Alicia, so she'll tap it at 5 there. And Erica.
Ooh.
Good round.
Tough balance on that one, it looked like.
It's hard because
Just on a slope.
Yeah, it's on a slope. It's uphill a little. When we were on the tee pad for this hole, the juniors are behind us. And that was the funniest thing I've ever heard. Them running down that hill. They were so excited and all yelling. And it was so cute.
Shout out to the MJ10 and the MJ15 division because I think they had the biggest gallery and the biggest cheers going all the first round.
Oh, yeah. They really are the future of disc golf. If you can get kids from your community, please support them. Please take them out, show them around. You know, it really does grow the sport.
Peace Bridge's kind of mission is to help subsidize the women and the youth getting into the sport as well. So making the disc golf tournaments more accessible, helping out leagues and stuff too. So hopefully more people jump on board and, you know that we got to get more people into the sport in order for it to survive.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that next year we're going to have a junior event, working with Mike Huff to do something at Christie. So,
oh, that's awesome. And a great course to do a junior event too.
Yeah, beautiful.
You're just looking over the island fairway here on the par 5, hole 19. And then the rest of that all along grass is out of bounds. 943 feet. So not a tough placement shot, but a good long pull to get your placement on the first drive.
Yeah. Then
you have the choice to go for it or go safe on the right after your first throw.
It is like pretty much for us, we want to do max distance on our first drive to get us as close as we can to the OB so that we can do an easy shot to get into the main fairway. You could see the goats off to the right earlier in the fairway, and that's something we're aiming at on our second shot. And then for our up shot, we're just trying to get as close as we can to this basket. This road behind is OB. It is very scary throwing at a basket that's got, 15 feet behind it is OB.
And here we go, Colleen up first. We're looking at 270 to get to the fairway, but you want more than that to be in the safe part of this fairway, or you go to the drop zone.
Yeah, and really it's just as far as you can, let the disc do the hyzering. You don't have to hyzer it. Try not to turn it over because you don't want to have that S flight. You just, like Erica, that was perfect. You just want it to be right high and have it fall. And Brianna's, so she's getting extra distance off that turn, but it does put it a lot riskier. Your heart's
you don't feel safe before it starts going left.
And
what's Kat going with here?
I think this is her X3.
That's gonna hyzer a bit much.
And just barely OB our excellent spotter out there.
There's my cameo of the day, yeah.
He does everything, ladies and gentlemen. TD, spotter.
And I might play next year. If we can have enough people on the team. You're like an octopus there some days.
Oh, yeah.
Alicia going really far right, which is a good play too when you have nice stability on the disc.
Yeah, and just staying in bounds there.
She's going to be safe.
So Kat was the only one to go OB, and this is the next tee pad, right? Is this the...
This is just a drop zone.
Oh, it's just a drop zone. So we're in the island still. You're up at the goat fence there, so that is like a great place to aim. You're
up to the blue tees
is where you want to go.
Now.
Aim at the spotter.
And look at this flex and sail over the fence.
Beautiful.
A big cheer from Kat. That was a gutsy throw.
That was.
Because there is another option if you don't like the distance off that drop zone, you'd have to lay up to the front of the fairway.
Yeah. And, I mean, if you're up at the front of that fairway, you could clear the rest of the OB, but it is hard to swallow.
Also, yeah, you're taking a 7 probably.
Yeah. And Brianna with a great shot there. And Alicia
just a bit early.
Just turning over towards the goats. I definitely think I'm aiming at you.
Nice full flex rip there. No early turn for you because that's smack dab in the middle of the fairway.
Yeah, and I didn't want to go too high because the OB comes back out up ahead, so. And just the power on Erica's shots. Like, you can see how much farther she is than any of us. Her drive and her upshot.
So Alicia playing from where she went out on the second shot is easily over. And she'll have to
Look at that flag
air
dancing.
traffic control there.
Now this is a par 5, so Kat is, she's still like, you know, you can get up there and have a big throw in.
Can save par.
And all that tree on the right is like death. You can't even get through it, but if you go in it, you're just pitching out. The trees are really wide, so you're having to slide your leg in there. So we do kind of air out to the left a little bit more.
You got a lot of risk attacking that basket too.
Man, the power that looks like came out of that disc. If it was higher, that was beautiful.
This is obviously one of the harder holes on the course with the islands and the OBs in the way, but the lady's managing it quite well right now.
Now this is Brianna with her third shot. Right away she was like, oh. No.
The wind caught that real quick.
Yeah, not what she wanted. She is so good at those rollers, and it was just a really windy day.
Probably, in retrospect, a roller for that in the wind, you want to hyzer it and let it stand up in the wind gradually. Now,
this is the same disc I threw on the last hole that didn't turn over and went right at the goats. And then that time turned over way too much. I was like, I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Sometimes you just can't replicate it.
Yeah. The disc does what it wants. So this is Erica for her 3 as well. So she's just hoping to get as close as she can to get that birdie run.
Yeah. So that's high, so it
and
hyzers
that
out a
distance
bit.
she has, look at her pushing that road. She throws it so far.
Just a few feet away. So yeah, it's like you get past the island and you think you're in the clear, but then that road is behind you and you have more danger to deal with all of a sudden. And a telephone pole too for Brie. Oh.
You said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was pretty disappointed about that. And it's tough because you look at something like that and you go, don't hit the pole. That's one of the worst things we can do.
And it's almost like, or aim for the pole because I know I won't hit it.
Yeah, and then you hit it and you're like, wow, I'm so accurate, but that's not what I wanted.
All right, Bree's gonna make it up here.
Okay,
just
right at the
that's
tree.
A good tree. Knocks it down. Kat, looking up high here on this one, is she?
Yeah, she looks like she's pin high. And just a soft run. I don't think she wanted to go into all that schnarr behind.
Mm-hmm.
And
going the back door.
I love that Erica. I know this was probably the best line for her, but she took such a risky route trying to Annie that in. Just, if the wind catches it.
If you fade it out onto the road, yeah. Oh, look at that. Barely any change at all.
Amazing. So I'm going to be honest. I watched Alicia do that and I was like, okay, I can do that too. And I'm closer, but it's such a big tree. Like, that tree was huge to get around. That was a huge relief to put that in.
So was that the par then?
So that was a par for me.
Yeah.
And that was, I believe, a bogey for Brie.
Mm-hmm.
And then Erica's going to be tapping in her par. So Kat tapping in her bogey, a 6.
Yeah, that's if you count the island there with the OBs, that's the 3rd hardest hole on the round.
That makes sense. It is, if you don't get too ambitious and you do the same distance of a shot, like you can make it there in 3 and tap in a 4. But it's just the placement of those shots is so stressful.
So a little history behind the Peace Bridge here on our feature hole 20. The Da Vinci Bridge actually is a structure that represents the disc golf community, all the different pieces, all the different people involved, from sponsors to players, everything. That's what the bridge feature is meant to represent here. And it also represents a huge pain in the butt for some of these players on the shortest hole in the course.
Yeah. This is a scary hole. It's a fast fairway with that hill. There's a spotter up there on the right. I definitely was aiming at that tree he's next to.
Mm-hmm. Roads
and just,
OB.
Yeah, and just let the disc slide in. If you slide in
Beautiful shot.
Thank you. If you slide in too hard, you guys made that OB on the left. So there's a fence there, and you might think the fence is the OB line, but it's not.
There's actually 2 feet inside the fence is where the line is sprayed. So that is going to be up against the fence and OB. She'll go to the red tee for the drop zone.
So very much, I think, risking the right side so that you don't slide left too much is worth it.
Yeah, I like that play all the time. And you see Bree's going to have that trouble because she went right at it.
And just where the line is painted, she is in.
Just touching the orange, yeah. Cat. Hopefully we'll get a wind read and go wide, and she's done so.
And she took my route more.
Yep, nice little slide in there. The grass is pretty grippy there as well, so if you get it low, it's probably going to stick. And Alicia as well. But the wind pushes hers a bit far.
And she stayed safe. Ooh.
It is a nerve-wracking shot for all of that 200 feet. Erica from the drop. Nice smooth release, and it just sails by the bucket.
So close, and that was for her 2. It's for Alicia's 2.
Ooh, just a bounce. So you'd see if it gets in the bridge, it does a little bit of a plinko thing, and you can get a roll away there too. So you're always have a little bit of risk there, even if you're close. So this one's sponsored by Creemore Home Hardware. You see their tent in the background as well. They gave up all the supplies to get the course looking in tip-top shape. So we teamed up Peace Bridge and Home Hardware for this hole. All the community groups, all the businesses, awesome to make this happen. That's a nice tap in for a birdie there.
So me and Kat will walk away with the birdies. Alicia tapping in her 3.
Mm-hmm.
Erica's going to tap in her 4 here, and Bree will be tapping in her 3 as well.
So hole 20 right kind of in the middle for difficulty here. It's going to get a lot harder when the wind picks up though.
Yes. This hole is no joke. I think it can be very deceptive, and it looks so easy, so hard.
Last hole today is hole 21. Very short shot straight through the tunnel, but there's not a big gap here. Par 3, 220, 230 if you're playing around the side. The hyzer shot is the shot to go, so just between that spruce and the rest of the trees. This tunnel is probably only taken by maybe some junior players that don't have the hyzer difficulty.
Yeah,
strength.
I think we will see Brianna take that line. She really liked the forehand down it. But fun fact about the blues versus golds, the blues, the creek is inbounds, and the golds, the creek is out of bounds. So often you can't make a farther back tee pad, so we make the hole more challenging. So that was the idea here.
That's right. So this one, creek's casual. In the afternoon, in the second round, it will be OB. It would be Bree that would go through the tunnel though with her with her flexes.
Yeah, she's got a great forehand she's been working on. I know Kat's always had a forehand. We've seen her use it a lot today, but it's getting so controlled and so good. So it's very cool to see people taking that forehand shot right off the tee.
Really nice wide shot there. Yeah, Kat's using those ultimate skills.
Yeah.
The crossovers.
And she's gotten so good so fast.
You were up there pretty close too. We didn't mention your shot.
Yeah, I think for me and Kat, we both felt this was just basic hyzer.
Mm-hmm. It's a stock hyzer, just with a lot of things in the way.
Yeah. And the more you can eliminate things from your view and just pretend it's not there, the easier it is. Now, this looks too tight, but it is
Wow.
so good.
She's right up there to the sugar shack, and she'll be coming back about 20 feet or so. That's it.
Yeah. That is definitely, the title line is definitely the line for the ace.
And that's another great line drawn up from Erica.
Look at it just drop
That's
there.
the
Beautiful.
closest one, yeah. Okay, so just out of the little bushes here, you're trying to get a good footing. Fighting off the raspberry thorns in there too.
Yeah.
Not an ideal stance, I gather from that. Yeah.
I think my right foot was farther down than my left foot, so it made me like lopsided a little. So
Yeah. Definitely didn't look as comfortable as your normal putts.
Yeah. This for Cats 2. Crushes it.
Great putt. And from behind the sugar shack, Alicia, great drive, great putt.
Amazing putt. And here I'm shooting for 3, and we haven't seen Brianna or Erica yet. They are just so parked.
And there it is. No harm done.
Beautiful.
Excellent. Well, I thought Erica did get the CTP there, but they were almost the same.
Right? That was a great ace run from both of them. Just amazing playing.
Very good rounds from most of our ladies, and an incredible round from the one beside me, Colleen McInnes. -8 on the day.
And it just recently, it went to 989, it looks like, on here. So I mean, I just had a 1,000 rated round get taken off, and so that's my highest rated round right now. So oh, sorry.
That's awesome.
It
Ripping
did
up the course.
It did get changed to 994.
Okay.
I'm not sure why it's
So pushing 1,000 rated round.
pushing. Yeah. So that was phenomenal.
You've just seen a clinic in disc golf from Colleen McInnes and the rest of the FPO card. We're all coming back if you want to catch round 2 at Highlands Nordic. This Peace Bridge Highland Open. We're signing off for now.
Thank you for joining us.